Hello and welcome to the program. I am Suren. An insisting question creeps in. Maybe unusual, but I ask anyway. Are you happy? How do you describe happiness? One common response we all seem to share, and is the most expected one: happiness is really a state of well-being, characterized by positive emotions. It is a sense of purpose and fulfillment. It is also a multifaceted experience and encompasses both short-term joy and long-term life satisfaction. What can you tell me about aspects of happiness? Let us consider first positive emotions. Remember, happiness includes a range of positive feelings, like joy, contentment, amusement, and satisfaction. Consider life satisfaction. It is all about feeling good about one's existence, the appreciating achievements, and finding meaning in those experiences. Meaning and purpose, and this could be the answer to an age-old question we all seem to ask from time to time. Happiness often involves a sense of purpose and direction in life, contributing to something larger than one's own self. Talk to me about well-being. It is said happiness is closely linked to overall well-being, including physical and mental health, as well as strong social connections. What can we say about the factors influencing happiness? Think about it. To start, the genetics, individual predispositions play a great role in shaping happiness levels. In general, life circumstances, such as events, achievements, relationships, and overall life experiences, impact happiness. Thinking and feelings. Well, personal attitudes, beliefs, and coping mechanisms can influence how individuals experience and respond to life's challenges. Can one measure happiness? Subjective well-being. Researchers often measure happiness by assessing an individual's overall satisfaction with life, their experience of positive and negative emotions, and their sense of meaning and purpose. In short, happiness is a complex state of well-being that encompasses positive emotions, life satisfaction, and a sense of purpose, influenced by a combination of individual factors and life experiences. What is then happiness in truth? and in reality. Well, why should one practice it? How can one cultivate it? Happiness. Coming up with a formal definition of happiness can be very tricky, if not very difficult at times. After all, should we not just know it when we can feel it? That's a good question. In fact, as you might be familiar with the notion that we often use the term to describe a range of positive emotions, including amusement, joy, pride, and contentment. But to understand the causes and effects of happiness, researchers first needed to define it. For most, the term happiness is interchangeable with subjective well-being, which is typically measured by inquiring of people about how satisfied they feel with their lives in an evaluative state, how much positive and negative emotion they tend to feel, and how effective their sense of meaning and purpose. That is eudaimonic. Now, in her 2007 book, The How of Happiness, positive psychology researcher Sonia Lyubomirsky elaborates, describing happiness as the experience of joy, contentment, or positive well-being, combined with a sense that one's life is good, meaningful, and worthwhile. However, it is extremely important to note that social and cultural factors also influence how we think about happiness. For example, studies by William Toff and others have found that people from cultures that embrace collectivist ideals think about happiness more in terms of harmony and contentment, while more individualistic-minded people are connected to feelings of exuberance and joy. Keep it in mind. At the same time, happiness levels are shaped by social groups, like families. And happier people increase their happiness of people around them. Those people around the world have different ways of thinking about happiness, and perhaps even experience it in different ways. And most involve feeling positive generally, and about overall life experiences. What are the limitations, you might ask, if one can consider them? June Gruber speaks about 4 ways of it. Happiness can hurt you, she says. Wait a moment. Can feeling good ever be bad? To hurt? Surprisingly, the new research says yes, and points the way to a healthier state. Now consider, variety is the spice of emotional life. Kira Newman writes, a new way of thinking finds that cultivating a diversity of emotions, mind you, positive or negative, can be healthy. Happiness is indeed an electrifying and elusive state. Philosophers Theologians, psychologists, and even economists, would you believe, have long been defining it. And since the 1990s, a whole new branch of psychology, that is, positive psychology, has been dedicated to define it. Happiness as more than simply positive mood. Happiness is a state of well-being, and it encompasses living a good life, one with a sense of meaning and deep contentment. Feeling joyful has its health perks as well. A growing body of research also suggests that happiness can improve your physical health. Your feelings of positivity and fulfillment seem to benefit cardiovascular health, the immune system, inflammation levels, and blood pressure, among other things. Happiness has even been linked to a longer lifespan, as well as a higher quality of life and well-being. In fact, attaining happiness is a global pursuit. Research finds that people from every corner of the planet Earth rate happiness as more important than other desirable personal outcomes, such as obtaining wealth, acquiring material goods, and getting into heaven. But the question remains, how to be happy? Happiness is not the result of bouncing from one joy to the next. Research finds that achieving happiness typically involves times of considerable discomfort. Genetic makeup, life circumstances, achievements, marital status, social relationships, even your neighbors, all influence how happy you are or can be. So there you have it, the two individual ways of thinking and expressing feelings. Research again shows that much of happiness is under personal control. That's true. Regularly indulging in small pleasures, getting absorbed in challenging activities, setting and meeting goals, maintaining close social ties, and finding purpose beyond oneself all increase life satisfaction. It is not happiness per se that promotes well-being alone. It is the actual person. That is the key. How to find happiness? One discovers in a review by Psychology Today staff, where we read, happiness encompasses feelings of satisfaction and contentment and the drive to live a life of meaning. It involves creating strong relationships. It requires comfortable or painful experiences to continue to learn, grow, and evolve. Misperceptions about when it comes to what really makes people happy. From killing hopes of happiness and wealth, status and position, to the avoidance of any feelings of distress. Remember, we are poor predictors of our own future happiness. That's being human. But understanding what is analyzed, happiness can help you take steps to achieve it. Let's talk about the pillars of happiness. Finding happiness will always be an ongoing process as people strive to create a meaningful and joyful life. And this is when cultivating certain behaviors can help, including meaning, authenticity, optimism, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. How do you determine what makes you happy? Living according to your own values is the central component in the rate of happiness. If you do not know which values are important to you, try this thought experiment. Imagine yourself being one of the characters in the Harry Potter series, and if you could wave a magic wand and instantly have everyone's approval and admiration, what would you choose to do with your life? The sound advice for anyone searching for happiness would be: take steps that take you to those personal values. But how do you make a habit of happiness? There is not a one-size-fits-all formula for happiness, but certain steps can help people achieve more happiness on a daily basis, such as the 5-step process. How can you become more optimistic? Reformulating how you think about the underlying cause of negative events makes clear that optimism can be learned. Attributing a mistake or failure to insufficient effort rather than to a lack of ability provides motivation for people to improve and succeed the next time. Research suggests again. However, no matter what we consider herein, we all need also to think of yet another element to assist us to become happier, and it is gratitude. Well, how do you practice gratitude? People who cultivate gratitude tend to better appreciate and enjoy life, as gratitude creates satisfaction that is not dependent on outside sources. To practice good attitude, reflect on what you are grateful for each morning to shape the rest of the day. Keep a gratitude journal, if you will, and reframe negative experiences by finding something within them for which you are grateful. And this takes us to the subject of truthfulness to oneself and the outside world. In other words, becoming more authentic. Yeah? How can you live authentically? Authenticity is a cornerstone of mental health, connected to self-esteem, vitality, and well-being. So, the expressed norms and expectations sometimes lead people to act in ways that don't align with their true self. Therefore, exploring your behavior and challenging those underlying assumptions can help you lead a more authentic life. Pretensions are not needed to please others. How do you make your life meaningful? A meaningful life can be defined as one having worth or valued qualities. People can then always find meaning by creating value, such as by composing a beautiful song, painting a beautiful scenery, forging a loving relationship, or committing to moral righteousness. Creating that value is an ability that can be learned and practiced. In relation to the subject, yet another question comes to mind. How do you practice compassion and generosity? Compassion is an undervalued key to happiness. Anxiety and depression are, on the other hand, self-focused states, and surely helping others broaden perspective and dissolves self-focus. While money or positions can provide short-term happiness, but research suggests that compassion and service lead to long-term happiness and health and wisdom. Let us then consider mindfulness, spirituality, and even religion. Mindfulness is an extremely powerful way to cultivate happiness. It involves focusing on the present moment and observing thoughts and emotions without judging them. Simply acknowledging these feelings rather than struggling against them can help release their potency and negativity. Spirituality and religion also have the capacity to create joy, community, and meaning. Abiding by the values of a given religious belief as observed in certain groups of people, which often include community, self-care, and a trusting relationship with a deity, with God or Allah, can help individuals find health and happiness. I will avoid to indicate or name certain denominations in here due to known factors we face in our world. Now, yet another question. Does mindfulness make you happier? Practicing mindfulness is associated with experiencing more positive emotions. Research in general suggests mindfulness involves slowing down and deliberately focusing on and appreciating aspects of your experiences, as well as accepting your thoughts and emotions, viewing them with openness, curiosity, and kindness. The ability to release control and criticism may be the reason why mindfulness fosters happiness is a worthy view to take note of. Then, how do you practice mindfulness? You can practice mindfulness in meditation sessions, believe it or not, or in smaller moments throughout the day. Draw your attention to your breath and to the sensations of your body and surroundings. Observe the thoughts and emotions you experience without judgment, simply acknowledging and labeling them. At a later time, exploring why those emotions surface may help address underlying challenges. Do spirituality, belief systems, and religion make you happier? Research has revealed a strong link between psychological well-being and religion or spirituality. There are also connections to better health, such as lower rates of smoking and alcohol use, better sleep, and even a longer lifespan. But we are not suggesting you should follow a religion. It's totally personal. Yet there are also elements of religions that can cause distress in some cases, such as the feelings of guilt or shame. So watch out. Why are religion and spirituality, under normal circumstances, good for you? 3 key reasons may explain the benefits of religion and spirituality. Many religions emphasize, as we know, social support, and some delve into institutions which run support groups for community members. Religions often encourage taking care of the body and mind, thus leading to better health habits. Religion can also foster coping skills, such as through a trusting relationship with a deity, God, Allah, or other people. Naturally, we don't necessarily need religion, as there are many other ways. Let's talk about relationships. Above and beyond finances, intelligence, and hometown relationships are a crucial determinant of happiness. Deep connections with family, friends, and romantic partners fulfill basic human needs for belonging. Investing time and energy to create and maintain those connections is therefore a central component of finding happiness. Here is yet another question. Why do relationships make you happy? Well, relationships provide acceptance, support, and safety, and they are one of the most important keys to happiness and good health. We benefit from close and nurturing relationships, whether with a spouse, parent, colleagues, or a close friend. How can I be happier in a romantic relationship, you might ask? Certain choices are especially important in creating a happy, successful relationship. Being attentive and supportive, willing to work through differences, sharing, say, household responsibilities, even shopping, and discussing sex honestly. Being affectionate and practicing gratitude are among the behaviors that boost relationship satisfaction over the long term. Question: are married people happier than single people, would you say? I say married people experience a boost in happiness in the early days of their relationship, but their happiness later returns to baseline. Some research suggests that, aside from that boost, single people and married people have similar levels of happiness. One reason for their happier demeanor may be that single people have very active social lives. Careers and money. That's a good subject too. Committing to work that aligns with your values can instill meaning and fulfillment. You may, for instance, prioritize creativity, travel, opportunities, or financial stability for your family. Understanding your values can help determine which job options will bring you happiness. Happiness also depends on factors such as whether the work is engaging, whether you are skilled at your job, and whether you like the people you work with. A job that meets your basic needs is important, to including fair compensation, reasonable hours, and a manageable commute, and job security. How do you find happiness in your job? People view employment in different ways. Some see a job as a way to make money, a tool. Some see it as a path to success and prestige, and some see it as integral to their identity in life. The latter often find their work more meaningful and their life more satisfying. Identifying your orientation can help you understand which career choices will make you happy. Then, does your happiness affect your work? Question mark. A common narrative reports that if you work hard, you will be happy. But research suggests that the opposite is also true. Positive emotions may promote career success. This could be due to happier employees, setting higher goals, persevering at challenging tasks for longer, being more optimistic that they will succeed, and having more social support at work. What do you do if you hate your job? Remember, some do. And many people feel unhappy at their jobs, but the answer might not be able to find a new position. Research shows that people experience a burst of happiness after getting a promotion or a new job. But that change disappears after a year. What boosts happiness is the process of working toward challenging goals, which provide structure, meaning, and the opportunity to master new skills. I know this following, though process is a cliche, but it is asked often. Does money buy happiness? Consider. Money, in a sense, buys happiness to the point that it lifts people out of poverty and allows them to live comfortably. Beyond that point, money does not boost well-being. However, money has a greater impact on overall happiness. Stepping back and considering whether we are satisfied with life, then the emotions people feel on a day-to-day basis. This brings us to the subject of positive psychology. Now, what is a positive psychology, you might ask? The basis for most of the world's religions begins with a path towards inner peace, deeper meaning, and greater enlightenment. These are the hallmarks of positive psychology. The history of positive psychology reveals that the ancient philosophers promoted the different pathways to happiness. They believed it begins with knowing your true self and acting in accordance with your virtues. A more modern definition of positive psychology allows the fleeting pleasures of materialism and winning to focus on the act of cultivating satisfaction and contentment. It encourages you tapping into your inner strength and connecting with others to lead to a heightened sense of gratitude and the happiness that comes with it. Pursuing these attributes leads to the benefits of positive psychology. Save the good in your life by being with the people you love and finding real pleasure in enjoying the things you find meaningful. Then one may question, what are the pillars of positive psychology? Learning how positive psychology applied begins with the search for self-fulfillment, which can push back the ill effects of depression, failed relationships, and graduation of unfulfilling work. It is helpful to first understand what you want and what makes you happy. Economist Richard Easton first tracked happiness to income paradox in the 1970s. He demonstrated that money makes people happy, but only up to the point when our basic needs were met. One would think youth makes people happy, but people in their 80s rank their psychological well-being even higher than people in their 20s. Believe me, having children is supposed to be joyful, but the added stress of caregiving can lead to marital dissatisfaction. And so, by understanding what does and does not make us happy, we can arrive at the three pillars of positive psychology. Connecting with others save pleasure. Developing a sense of gratitude. Consider flow. But what is flow? And how is it related to positive psychology? Flow is a state of intense absorption in work, in hobby or an activity that one finds pleasurable. A skilled woodworker, for instance, might enter flow by building a chest of drawers, for example, as I read somewhere. A video gamer can flow by mastering a new challenge on her game console or in a chess play. In either case, the activity leads to a position or positive short-term emotional experience, as in a football game. Flow theory revolves around creating more of these opportunities, which can be useful, potent route towards increased happiness. What happens when you are in a flow state? Well, you lose awareness of time. You don't care about how you look or how you are perceived by others. Your awareness of yourself is the only thing that matters in relation to the activity itself or your environment. You are not interrupted by extraneous thoughts. You are in control and work effortlessly. You have clear goals, but you may not be focused on the goal. You would like to repeat the experience. What strategies can help you incorporate flow into the positive psychology practice? We might ask. Choose an activity that provides new feelings, experiences, or insights. Paint a picture. Pay attention to your body sensations and posture. Overcome the urge to stop every time you make a mistake. Accept that being nervous is normal and will ease once you get going. It's like in a drawing, without using an eraser. Try to work or play with others. Maintain your sense of humor. Positive thinking. Now, what is positive thinking? Positive thinking is the conscious act of finding the positive side of an act or encounter. Some beautiful examples were listed in a literature one of my students had read. That driver who cut in front of you, it was a reminder to build distance between you and the other drivers. That stressful discussion with your granddaughter about her attire, it was a chance to learn the new styles and modes of dress the younger generation is adopting. As we discover that here is a difference between positive psychology and positive thinking. Positive psychology is otherwise described as the science of human flourishing, the search for satisfaction and contentment that is within everyone's reach. We further discover all about positive thoughts and positive attitudes. What we call positive thinking can lead to direct positive health outcomes. When comparing the most optimistic to the least optimistic, they have a reduced risk of dying from cancer, infections, stroke, heart disease, and lung disease, says a Dr. Eric Kim, who studies the phenomenon at the Harvard Chan School of Public Health. Feeling some gratitude is a pillar of positive psychology. And this is the point where the power of positive thinking and positive psychology intersect. To increase optimism, Dr. Kim advises to do by writing down 3 things you are grateful for each night and making a list of the kind of things you have done for others. What is self-compassion? Psychologists who are interested in topics related to positive psychology, mindfulness, and the science of happiness are beginning to study self-compassion. Self-compassion means being warm and understanding towards ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, says Kristin Neff, Associate Professor of Human Development and Culture at the University of Texas, Austin. There are 3 components of self-compassion. Self-kindness is the ability to be warm and understanding towards yourself when you fall short of your goals, to soothe and nurture yourself when confronting pain rather than getting angry. Commonly, humanity has the awareness that you are not alone in your imperfections or shortcomings, because everyone makes mistakes. That's human. And it is easier to forgive yourself for your own feelings. Mindfulness is the non-judgmental observation of your own thoughts, your own feelings, and actions. When you look in the mirror, mindfulness helps us accept the bad with the good with a compassionate attitude. Again, what is mindfulness then? Mindfulness is the practice of focusing your attention on the present moment and hitting the mute button on the anxieties, the distractions, and the noise of everyday life, and accepting the self now without any judgment. Mindfulness exercises can lower stress levels and literally rewire the brain. A great research was conducted at the affiliated Massachusetts General Hospital, which had reported changes in areas of the brain associated with fear, anger, and related emotions in the subject trained in mindfulness practice. Healthcare professionals, doctors, and nurses are beginning to bring mindfulness meditations into the mainstream, using this mind-body focus to bring positive changes to health or health attitudes and behaviors. Many people want to know how to learn and, in fact, how to conduct mindfulness. And I say this, it begins by training the mind to focus on the present moment without judgment, often in a systematic way. Mindfulness meditations and a variety of related techniques, including yoga and Tai Chi. All involves mindfulness. Some of these disciplines rely on a posture or the repetition of a phrase, often called a mantra, that allows the stressful parade of thoughts to come and go. Mindfulness can induce what is known as the relaxation response, a calming of your fight or flight impulse, which helps reduce the harmful effects of stress. I will be meeting you again by the next episode. Until then, I'll say keep smiling and be happy. Be mindful. Thank you.